So now we're down to the finishing touches. There will be a hemming of the bottom of the skirt, which is just going to be a rolled hem like we did for the sides. And then the other one is to make the waistband. So for the original pattern, I've seen videos where they just said cut ribbon, and then there's a slit that needs to be at the center of the waistband, and they just cut a slit and then put nail polish to stop it from fraying. I really want a much better finishing than that. So I do have, I was planning on having extra fabric left, and I do have some fabric left. I'm using the underlayer, and I'm going to make a proper waistband. So I'm cutting rectangles that are 16 centimeters in width, and what's going to happen with that is we'll fold them 4 ways, like this to the center and then half again, and so it's going to make a 4 centimeter waistband, which I think is a good width. You don't want it too thin, but you don't want it too thick either, because it's got to go around the circle of the waist, and you can't put too thick of a band there. So for me, I've determined 16 centimeters was good. So I've seen tricks on how to get nice and even bands. You need straight edges. So here's an example of a piece that's left that I can use to make the edge. So it's important to be square. So this is, I know it's completely straight because it's a salvage edge, and this one is one that I had previously hemmed by mistake. Anyway, this is also straight, and so I'm just put my 2 parallel, nicely parallel edges together. The bottom line is you need a nice rectangle, and a rectangle has square sides, right? 90-degree angles. So I folded this 4 ways. That's the length that I have, and now I have a rectangle. And I'm going to use this as my reference straight line. So I'm going to put that on a line on my cutting mat. That, if possible, a thicker line. Like that one. And I'm going to clean up. I'm going to make a straight edge here, and then 16 centimeters from it, another one, and that will be my rectangle. So it's really good to have a graduated placemat. If you don't, you need to do a lot of measurements. But I'm using lines that extend on either side as a reference point. And it looks like I can use this line here. And I'll cut there, and that would be one of the straight edge that's at a 90-degree angle to the other edge, and that way this will be the start of a nice rectangle. And then I like to pin that securely so that nothing moves when I am cutting the other side. This is a lot of layers, and everything can shift, and then you don't have a nice even band. And then we're going to make a rectangle that is going to be 16 centimeters in height. So I take that to my cutting mat, which is labeled as centimeters. I especially, I ordered that online specifically looking for something that had centimeters. I live in the US, so this was no small feat, but I insisted on it. So now I have nice and easy to use units on my cutting mat. So 5, 10, 15, 16. You don't need to know fractions if you use the metric system. That's the good thing about it. I really, really dislike fractions. once you unfold that, you should have a rectangle. Well, in my case, it's not going to be a rectangle because this one is made out of a curved piece of fabric, but that's fine. It still has its uses. So there we go. Another piece of the waistline. At this point in my design, I really don't know exactly how long I want the waistband to be, but we'll figure that out. So I've laid out my skirt folded on the center fold. So this is half of it. And it looks like one of my bands is going to make a nice half waist band, and then I have another one that will also work. So on the center fold, which is right here, we'll have to make a slit, and I'm going to do that cleanly. And I've been thinking about how to do it, but that's kind of my big project for today, is to figure out a clean way of doing a center fold. And part of the idea is to join two waistbands. So I'll have a seam here, and I can have an interrupted seam, and that should work for this center slit. So I took the two halves of the waistband to my machine, and I just stitched them together. And what I'm going to do is open the seam allowances and press them flat. So this is where the slit is going to go, and I didn't know exactly how it was going to work, so I went ahead and stitched the whole thing. So instead of ripping a slit through a whole ribbon, we are going to do some seam ripping, but I don't know yet where. So to see how this might work, the first thing I'm going to do is to fold this waistband as it is intended to be. So I'm hesitating. Is this gonna? Oh yeah. So yes, go ahead and we can fold this in half, and we can press that fold. We're doing origami here, so I'm gonna press that fold and then do more folding. Make sure we do want the center where we did the seam, that needs to line up very well. Alright, so like I said, origami. So we're going to open this up and fold each half in. So we want to fold this in, and this is exactly origami, so you want to leave some space because it's going to have to fold again. So leave a millimeter or two there so that there's space for that second fold. And we don't need to finish any of those raw edges because they're going to be folded in and protected. I mean, essentially this is like a really wide hem we're making. And this fabric that I'm using, the gauze, does not fray very much, so I did not finish the edges. And I'm not overly worried about the ends. These would be cut even, and I'll have to join another ribbon. But like I said, I need to do more construction with that, with the skirt, to see where I want to have a junction and how long I want the rest of the ribbon. So that's the last step. We want to fold in half and press again. I forgot about the golden rule of making sure the center seam lines up. I started at the end. That was not good. So I have to go back So start in the middle, make sure that's lined up, and then work your way to the ends.